I'm saying,
Your
locked
audio's
in.
in there this time.
I'm saying, locked in. Cut down the editing time, bro. We're getting there. We're piecing it together. We're back again. We're deep. We're about mid-season on this year's Sutton Says. We're back with a season 1 returner. We're talking about when I was filming audio only, no cameras. Pretty sure we recorded that episode sitting in my old apartment, with you leaned in, and then I was on another mic on the floor.
And you were like, hey, don't.
Yeah.
Back up.
Yeah. Young MUTO.
What up, brother?
How you feeling, baby?
Good, how are you?
I'm excited. This one's going to be fun. So I'm assuming if you're watching this one, you've bumped into Sammy. You've probably seen his gigantic head in a DJ booth somewhere if you've been out and about. Maybe you're out having a girls' dinner at AMSO. Maybe you were having a ladies' night out at the Edition. Maybe it was a boys' night, fight night, and you were just getting after it at Bar Howard. But no matter where you were at, Young Mutis was probably providing some vibes for you. It's been since 2022 since we last recorded and sat down, had you talking.
I think that was the summer, right?
Yeah, I think a lot has changed in Tampa, but
for sure,
quite a bit's changed for you too.
Yeah, I mean, 2022 was a lot of moving parts at that time. I think one of the bars that I was helping consulting in had just opened, Ivy Rose. Obviously, that's on to year 5 now. We've built that up. Some different opportunities came up for me there. The Edition, I think, opened a few months after that. I've been there obviously since day one. Helped out Ryan Brown over there, one of my really good friends. We've done a really good thing over there, and we've kept going. Bar Howard, obviously, they've closed. They're going to be turning into country type bar format, Nashville style live music joint. Wish them the best. And then American Social, we've just continued to kind of really just do the same thing. Since COVID, it's they kind of fell off. And everyone really fell off, and they stopped, kind of doing that nightlife, nightclub type of feel, kind of worked into sports. And we got really lucky with, obviously, Tampa Bay Lightning, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all of those sports going on. We kind of capitalized on that. And from there, really just kind of adapted the high-volume sports bar type of feel.
Right.
I think now, more than ever, we're looking at, obviously building our nighttime programming. Harbor Island, as you know, is continue to grow more and more. More spots are getting open over there. It's definitely up and coming. Yeah, the area's doing really well. It's honestly a really exciting time. So really just, fine-tuning those things between those venues, as well as, what we have going on with the hospitality group.
Right.
But just constantly staying busy, constantly trying to get things done, program in advance, and just, hit certain goals and markers.
Right. You mentioned AMSO kind of hit with some of the sports. Since 2022, there was straight up championships won through Tampa.
Right. And I mean, we definitely reaped the rewards of it for sure.
Yeah, the actual Stanley Cup made its way into AMSO.
Couple times, yeah.
The boat parade had a lot of action when the Bucks won.
And yeah, I mean, same for the Lightning as well.
Yeah.
All of them were boat parades. Definitely some iconic photos and moments from those events. I mean, I'll never forget them.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Events is one way to say it, and obviously a lot of the focus behind that was a guy that, growing up I was never a big fan of. TB12.
The GOAT.
Yeah, the Bucks, they did what they had to do.
The rented GOAT.
The rented goat. They borrowed a goat.
Released them.
Couple rings out of it. And you also did...
One ring.
Almost a second ring.
Yeah.
Pushed for it. But you basically got a ring by doing his retirement party.
Yeah, so that was a really cool event. I got to be pretty good friends with a guy that's close on his team. He actually came up to me and asked if I'd be interested in it. I obviously was like, oh my God, of course I would be. It's once in a lifetime opportunity, different type of event.
Whoa. Once in a lifetime opportunity. He retired a few times. But this was like a serious retirement this time.
I would like to
had to get that one.
I would have liked to say it was serious. It was a really cool event. Like I said, different kind of event. It's not really one where it's like, hey, I'm DJing, a nightclub, or I'm DJing like an open volume bar. It was really a thought out, choreographed thing with one of his actual companies called Autograph, which is kind of like a basically sports memorabilia in the digital space, NFTs and things like that. I think he's on it. Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, several people of influence in the sports world were involved on it, and they basically took that opportunity of his retirement to build this event around it. It was at Armature Works, big space venue hall. Thousands of people were there. We did inside and outside appearances, things like that. But everything was timed out. We ran through the event several times for weeks. And then when it was time to go, it was a 12-hour day. But it was really, really cool.
That's where you have a full run of show. You're not just kind of flowing. There's certified scheduled events throughout the day.
I had an AV headset, and you had the AV team basically saying, "Hey, you're on 3, 2."
Your cues.
Yeah, and there's different types of events like that. I think they're really cool opportunities given what they are. But they are different. They are longer. I wouldn't say they're demanding in their different ways, right?
Wait,
versus
you gotta
DJing,
sit.
like if I go DJ at American Social, and I'm playing a Friday night, 8 to 2. Those first 2 hours, I'm playing dinner crowd, 10 to close. We're really playing that volume night, playing to the crowd, things like that, and you kind of have your right to take it wherever you want to go.
Some freedom.
Especially with American Social.
Right.
I love it. I love them to death. It's amazing. You go into a place, like Edition, and we like to keep it, kind of, I don't want to say a higher standard, but it's a different pool of music where it's, very much so you're playing into a sophisticated crowd or a brand that's going to be, hey, this is what we want. This is what we kind of expect. Can you do this? For me, on the roof, it's definitely like a loungier, houseier, classier, upscale type of vibe.
Yep.
Whereas that's something that, can I play some of that music at American Social? Sure. But there are definitely some things that I play at AMSO that I won't be playing at the
Not
Edition.
even think about it.
You go into the Brady event, and to be honest, like, there was probably 20, 40 songs that, like, they had already said, hey, this is what we need on these cues. And they went as far as even like, okay, so a Jay-Z song, I needed it to be playing on like call it the 2.5 minute mark, and they wanted 15 seconds of that song gone. Okay, cool, marked. And then, they would go into basically free time for like guests to like, kind of mingle and stuff like that. That's where I'd be playing, just a basic, top 40 style thing, background music.
Light.
But other than that, it was much different than obviously what you would do at, call it AMSO or the Edition. But nonetheless, super cool event. Would do them all again in a lifetime if I could. So yeah, definitely.
It's a different style of event, but it's good to be able to flex those muscles and know you can do the very, very professional high-end stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, I think taking that opportunity, I was definitely like nervous about it a little bit at first.
Whoa.
There was more, there was more practices and things that I was doing with them that I hadn't done before. Now, like where I am, I would say like I'm definitely more comfortable with them because I do them in more volume with other places. So at first it was a little nerve-wracking, especially when Tom Brady and Gronk and all these guys are just walking right, and you're the one timing them up. Hey, Sammy, don't mess this up.
Hey, Gronk, I'm gonna need you over.
I need you to play this right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Playing. You have that headset in. You're not having your DJ headset on. You have your cues lined up, and you know to do it, but you're still waiting for that countdown.
What's funny is like if you actually aren't like paying attention, even though you aren't playing music at some of the point, like you have to be paying attention because there were actually keywords that like if a note speaker or someone was talking on stage, like there were things that like on those sentences I was supposed to start playing music on. So I had to be like on.
Yeah, I did a couple fashion shows like that.
Yeah,
and they don't play.
They don't play. If
Not even 1 second off.
If you miss it, they're like in your ear and they're like, "Hey, you can't miss that again."
Hey, you just ruined the show. Like, no, I didn't think it was that serious.
Like, hey, are you okay? Like, you need to get it. Like, come on. And it's, I get it. Like, I totally, if you've been practicing all that time and, they're putting trust in you to deliver.
And they're paying.
Deliver. Yeah, they're paying.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I'm not going to make sure that I'm locked in for this full 10 hours,
right. No,
11 hours, however long it is.
Definitely.
On top of the focus you have on DJing, keeping your sets fresh, keeping everything proper, you mentioned thriving hospitality.
Right.
What exactly is your role there?
So in 2022, I was just doing the entertainment, obviously, for Ivy Rose. Scheduling. I started to learn some of the payrolls and the kind of just like basic stuff, 1099, direct deposit payments for our DJs. That kind of developed into kind of an operation and managerial role that I kind of do at home on the back end, or even when if I need to be in the venue, I'll be for it at night. Which then kind of led to more opportunities with my partners now at all of our venues between here and Orlando. We also do like consulting deals that I basically do kind of the same thing for places in downtown Orlando. Basically, I've just been growing, continuing to push for that next thing. What we want to offer obviously is consistent and valuable hospitality, whether that is going to be at, your college bar market, that would be Ivy Rose, or that would be at, kind of that high volume college style bar and restaurant that is Bounce House, or, you go work downtown, you come to Thrive. I know you've been.
Love it.
The food's amazing. Chef Ryan, our executive chef, does an incredible job at all of our restaurants. Been learning a lot from him, been learning a lot from my partners, Mike and Declan, really just constantly pushing each other to get to where we want to be. And that's really just hitting all markers in hospitality. So, I said, obviously going downtown, working with that older crowd. We opened Lamp, which is in a different area of
Milk
Orlando.
District?
Yeah, Mills 50. It's definitely, Orlando's changed a lot. That area's very much so up and coming. A lot of really good hospitality players are out there.
Yeah.
The crowd, though, is very much so kind of like what Hyde Park would be to Tampa, if you're familiar. Older, 30 to 50. You also do get those younger people. But for us, it's knowing how to treat those people, with great hospitality and great service, while also remembering, kind of where you came from.
Right.
And I get reminded that every day, obviously, with Ivy.
Yeah.
Me personally, I started, we talked about this last time, that was the first episode all those years ago. I started in college bars, so I know Push, he talked about it. Everyone kind of knows me from that route, but one thing that I've always wanted to do was get into hospitality. My dad worked in hospitality for a very long time. He owned bars and nightclubs as well, so it was just kind of something that always interested me. Mike obviously gave me an opportunity to do so it's very thankful and continue to do it.
You've been running with it.
It's year 5 now.
And how many venues?
I want to say.
You can name them out. Name them out. Go ahead.
Ivy, Bounce, Thrive Apopka, Lamp. We do a consulting with Wall Street, and that's really it. I mean, Wall Street has about 8 venues on it.
Yep.
We also do consulting for Society in Orlando, but they have not opened yet. So they will be. It's like a condo type style thing. They have bars and restaurants inside of it. So leasing space.
You have all of that you're consistently dealing with. That's kind of like almost your Monday through Thursday, Friday-ish. It never really turns off.
I think it's more so, Monday through Thursday is probably like what I'm supposed to be doing things on. But depending on my schedule, I'll do stuff on the weekends. For example, this Sunday, I'm going to go to Bounce to train basically our whole staff on our ticketing platform of how we kind of want to have promotion done, what are the benefits of it, how we can use it, heading into fall, just trying to make sure, those benchmarks are all up to queue, or up to standard, I should say. Just because when you work in a college market like that, you obviously have staff getting turned and burned, younger people.
Yeah, a lot.
And, younger people, for me, it's when I was their age too, I get it. It's hey, set expectations, show them how to do it. You can't really yell and be rah, rah, this is how I want it done, if they don't even know how to do it.
Right.
And they don't know how to do it, at a level of an expectation. So, I mean, I have, my staff at Ivy, they'll even say the same thing. Hey, set expectations, meet them. If you're just going to disregard them and disrespect them, I'm going to let you know.
Right.
But that's just life. Doesn't make me hate you. Or
it's not personal.
Yeah. But that's part of setting those expectations, is going up there and showing them what we expect, how to get them done, asking me questions to my face, getting those things in order so we can, execute them in the future.
Okay. So you're knocking that out pretty much consistently throughout the week while maintaining residencies that are pretty challenging. Residencies that other people, I guess, would love to have as part of it, but even though if they might think they want it, they might not be able to hold on to it as steadily as they think they could. What do you think adds to your ability to just hold on to residencies and keep these places, not for a couple months, you keep places for years?
Yeah, I mean, AMSO I've been at 7 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
Edition I've been at since we've opened. Bar Howard I was at since Drink. So 2018 up until it closed. So I'm pretty good amount of time. I think it's just, understanding what the venue wants out of the position.
Right.
And understanding for yourself, are you willing to be that person? Are you willing to, kind of do the extra things when other people won't? Because I know, multiple times I've gotten to places where it's like, hey, they want extra things done, but a lot of times people are not, I guess, reluctant to do it because that's just not their job.
Yeah.
Right? That's just not, I'm the DJ. That's
you pay me to DJ, not do all this extra stuff.
And I think for me, not to track back, but what we just kind of talked about, I never just wanted to only DJ. So I think you knew that about me when I was really young too.
Yeah.
But once I kind of got that opportunity to show people that I can do more, I think a lot of people kind of took that seriously. I mean, obviously the accounts that, I work with now, AMSO in addition, understand that. They know that I do other stuff. They respect it, and I respect them just as much. And it's more so just having that consistent line of communication, treating them as a priority while you still have everything going on. So for me, whether I'm super, super busy with all of my Ivy stuff or super, super busy with AMSO stuff or super busy with scheduling Wall Street, however it might be, it doesn't matter. If you're going to take the work, you be ready for what's to come and get your deliverables done. Because when you start missing or being late on deliverables, you just give that person an opportunity, or being delayed on a task or being late to a gig or whatever it is you're doing, you give the person on the other side of that agreement an opportunity to look at you differently.
Right.
And more often than not, you probably don't want that.
No, more likely than not, there's 10 people barking at them in their DMs all over the place trying to get your spot.
I can do better than that person.
I can do it cheaper. Look, I can do it whatever. And you have to, like you said, you have to consistently show them yeah, no, I got you.
Well, I also think, and you even said, Tampa's market's changed way, way, way different from where it was when I was really young. Promotion, DJing, all that stuff really, really, really mattered. And some of these places that I work for now, it's more so operationally driven rather than promotion and, capabilities. I would be lying if I said, hey, could somebody else probably do AMSO just as good as me or the other? Yeah, definitely. There are people before me that did it, they're great at it, and they're continuing to do great things. But it's just, right now, that team has been a part of me for a very long time. They've embraced me, and that's kind of what we've been rolling with.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do all that AMSO stuff, you do all this edition stuff, and you still can't crack the top 50 best DJs in Tampa list?
No.
What's that about?
There's probably 4 or 5 guys on that list that are honestly really, really good friends of mine. This. Guys that, really put me in a place to where I am now, specifically Eakin and Koo.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys I have, I'm forever indebted to.
Right.
As far as everyone else on the list goes, look, even Fresh is a really, really nice guy. If you go down the list and, who's playing right now, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, if you're working right now and you're on that top 50 list, amazing. If you're on that top 50 list and, you aren't playing in Tampa as much right now, you probably need to reconsider that list.
Yeah, I didn't even want to bring any of that up. Janzer wanted me to. He wanted to when we were playing NCAA earlier. I find the whole list thing just to be clickbait nonsense.
It's a clickbait. So, if you're at the top of that list, you're probably looking for attention.
But the thing is, I don't even care about if you're on it, not on it, all that. If you say you don't care about it, don't talk about it. But we had a lot of people that were like, "Oh, nobody cares about this list. This is bullshit. This that." But they just kept posting about it and talking about it.
That's part of the game,
like,
right?
Bro,
a lot of the younger guys, like Push and AJ and all them, ask like, "What's this?" And him and I know this because I remember when I was literally 19, this list was coming up like every year. Like every year for years. And I talked to like tons of my
and the
older
creative
friends
loafing, the best DJs.
I forgot to even mention it. Jamie Ferreira, another great friend of mine who's also on that list.
Yeah.
Year after year after year, those lists come up.
Right.
If you notice the list every year, it's almost the same 50 people every single time, just placed differently.
Yeah.
All great DJs, not taking anything away from them.
All?
They're all great DJs. I'm not taking anything away from them. It's just when, and this kind of goes back to how I kind of maintain these residencies, when you forget about what's coming like up next and not being involved with the youth and not being involved with what's new and what's trending, you fall out of relevancy. You fall out of like what's going on and just knowledge of what's, now, what's coming now. How is hospitality being treated now? Because it's forever changing. Like we just talked about that, how gigs were, in 2019 compared to now. Just like the DJ stuff, man. Like if you were just gonna pretend like we're sitting in 2007, you're gonna get left behind.
Cooked.
You're going to.
Yeah.
Eakin will tell you that too.
Yeah.
Koo will tell you that. All these guys will say, you have to stay current. You have to stay up to date. If we want to pretend, that something else is going on that it isn't, sure, but your workload's gonna reflect that.
Yeah.
So
if you're willing,
my
to
workload
adjust.
is, it is what it is.
It's
I
full.
don't have to, it's full. So, I don't have to sit around and make a list to show people what I am or what I'm not. It doesn't really affect me.
Now, with that full workload, I think the biggest thing that we keep reiterating is the consistency aspect. You've consistently kind of stayed on the same routine, even through all this stuff with the gym.
Yeah, well, I think that the routine thing is kind of what keeps me in check personally.
Yeah.
I think you and I have talked about it like personally before. Like if I don't work out, I've been doing it since I was in high school.
Right.
My day feels off. So like I'll go on a run, I'll go lift weights, I'll go outside, we'll play basketball, whatever.
You've been hitting 2-a-days lately.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you gotta, give yourself a little check.
Yeah.
I was getting after it for a few weeks there, so I needed to put
you were out dancing.
I was outside. I was dancing.
Yeah.
So I needed to put myself.
Gotta lock in.
Put myself in timeout. So I didn't drink for like 10 days, and then. But it was good. It clears you out, and you're able to get back and do what you need to do.
Would you say the gym aspect of your routine and just having a routine overall is almost necessary for your workload and how much you have to balance everything?
Definitely. Mondays I'm doing scheduling or sending invoices. I know for a fact, like if I'm at like the first week of the month, this, I'm sending you dates for the following month.
Yeah.
And in the summer months when it's like, things are kind of slowing down, I'll schedule dates out 2-3 months in advance.
So it's
because I know in the summer that some of these venues are going to start pulling back on gigs and that, there's going to be a bigger pool of people looking for events and stuff like that because they just lost a gig because of weather or they lost a gig because, the season is slow.
Yeah.
So it's important for me if I have guys that are accountable then to get them, in schedule now, just because I already know I'm going to have to still do all those other things I normally do during the week and during, the month, whether it's payroll, scheduling, my own gigs, new events, festivals or whatever that might be that we're working with.
Yeah.
Just, you have to keep everything into account.
Right.
So you got to keep your head kind of, on your shoulders for the most part.
And it's crazy that you do all this, and for like the common person that just thinks you're a DJ, they might not know you do all this. You do all that, but you also manage to find time to play NCAA multiple times a week.
Almost every day.
Almost every day.
Well, I get up early and I call you, was it like 8 or 9 a.m.? I'm like, yo, let's get a game in.
I get a call by at least 9 o'clock every single day. You got what I want. I'm like, I don't got nothing for you. Or I tell them I got something for you. Let me finish up doing what I'm doing. But you gotta almost use that as your refresher. Like you're saying, keep your head in check and keep yourself like sane. If it's just work, schedule, you almost feel.
And I do it to myself sometimes where like I'll literally and this is actually, I remember these days, like when Ivy first opened, I would go to Orlando in the morning, get some things done, drive back, run a meeting at Ivy, and then work a gig that night.
Right.
So I would be going from like 8 a.m. to 3 a.m. I don't know how I did it. I did it, but it was, I was probably drinking 1 or 2 Celsiuses a day.
Yeah.
It was a lot though.
Right.
It paid off in the long run, but just having some time to like for yourself. And even now I take that time, like in a few weeks, I'm going to go on that fishing trip.
Right.
I will still work from there, but I'll be doing, stuff that I want to do, trying to get away from my phone, trying to get away from the emails, whatever that might be, whether it's, playing NCAA, playing Xbox, maybe even like going bowling with your friends, getting out to the beach. I was doing that for a little bit. I think every morning after the gym, I would drive over here actually to Clearwater, Dunedin area, and sit on the beach for a couple hours.
Maybe hit the movies.
Maybe hit the movies,
See the long
movies
legs?
are good. Long legs. I love it. But no, I mean, definitely you're going to have to work harder than most and longer than most, especially when, we're working in hospitality and working in a nightlife industry, especially obviously if you're going to be, a DJ. But it is so important to disconnect yourself from that and, kind of talk to yourself, whether that's, going to the beach or doing things you like to do. And that as well.
Yeah.
Because it'll drive you crazy, or you can just continue to do it nonstop for hours and hours on day.
You'll just burn it.
And then you're just in a little loop.
And you can't be in that loop in the fall. As a hospitality person in Florida specifically, yes, summer is hot. And I'm sure if you're watching this and you're working in hospitality, it's been slow for you over the last month, 2 months. This month's been a drag specifically. I've noticed a lot of places I've been at, people are just hurting. They're doing more outside stuff. They're just doing other things. So I've almost been scaling back and saying, all right, let me start getting prepped up for the fall. Because I know going into fall football and everything like that, work ramps up. And some of the work isn't as strenuous, but there's just so much more work. So you got to be sharp for the volume. Plus, I'm coaching 2 different teams at this point.
And you in the fall, you also account for your Fridays not being available.
Yeah,
you've been doing that now for a couple years.
This will be year 3.
Yeah, so a couple of years. I remember I remember that in the fall. Like I know I don't have Sutton on Fridays on my schedule, so it's tough.
Yeah.
This summer also, you and Danny were doing a lot of weddings, so I had to account for that too. Yeah. One thing that we had to account for in Tampa was the hurricanes that wiped out 3 venues. That during this year would have been, taking up a lot of volume for a lot of people, a lot of events for a lot of people. You were a lot of work for not only DJs but bartenders. You were at Water,
what?
Yeah, you were working those things too. I mean, I was working there for a little while, so I get it before
3
COVID.
years. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a lot of work, just smacked out, dog.
You take that. You took TCI away from people.
Howard's been gone a couple weeks already. Yeah, that small move on top of the other ones already being banged out.
That affects people, and people don't really forget about it. I think that Tampa as a whole and St. Pete is responding better than most.
Right.
This summer they're still staying out. They're still staying busy, but unfortunately, only time is going to be the one that's going to, tell whether those kind of venues will get back or not.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I want to go do a beach party, but instead of having a venue now, it's like, oh, I got to bring equipment. I got to bring, a deck. I got to do all this extra stuff that does cost money. But by the way, we need a break too because we're also trying to do this. So it's a little bit of a standstill situation for like things like that.
Right.
Because I get it. Like as one being the DJ is one the person that books. I understand both sides. Where it's like, yeah, we want a DJ, but like we need it to help this side of the business because we're struggling of something, a tragedy that happened last year, and we all know insurance people are the worst, and they're gonna make everything take forever. But that's not any of our problems. Our problem is how do we, get this thing done.
Right.
And both sides is a hard thing to get done sometimes, especially when it's an outside event in the daytime in the summer in Tampa.
Well, there's a lot of daytime events coming up in the summer, post-summer, right at the beginning of the fall with the Bucks season. You DJ'd inside of Ray J.
Yeah.
During a game.
Yeah.
That was the first time you did something like that?
Yeah.
As a lifelong Bucks fan, DJing an actual Bucks game?
That was super cool. I'm going to do them again this year as well.
What game was it last year?
The Broncos. So we actually lost that one. Super cool experience. I'm not really gonna,
Are you sure you should DJ another one?
we're gonna have to ask Ethan. I think I deserve it, but I mean, we'll see.
Or are you the reason why they lost?
I'll put it this way. I hold season tickets. If we lose that game, I won't be DJing them anymore. I won't. I'll change my seat. I'll do it all. I don't care. Oh, it's worth it. 100%.
Well, you're not like one of the bad omens. Like with your season tickets, you're not losing every home game that you go to or anything, right?
No.
Okay, it could just be your DJing.
It could be, and maybe that's why I'm not on the list.
Yeah,
which would make a lot more sense.
You threw yourself off the list by throwing a game.
Well, I heard I was 68 on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the projections.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you say, dude. Speaking of projections, what do you project the Bucks' record to be?
Okay, so you know I'm biased. I think.
I know. That's why I asked.
I think they'll start, like 500, 4-4, but I really think like on that back end they're gonna get at least 11 or 12 wins.
Okay, so what's the record prediction? If we're starting
12-5.
We're starting 4-4, and then we're going on a run.
Yeah.
Losing one the rest of the way out.
Yeah.
Is that enough to win the division?
I think so. Who's gonna win more than 10 games in that division?
Big Phoenix Energy.
Big Phoenix. Okay, cool.
Tampa Bay Tech.
Yeah, I love Big Phoenix, but as far as
what about Bryce is right? What about Bryce?
Nah.
And Dave Canales.
Canales is great. Bryce is great, but Carolina's no.
Xavier Leggett.
No.
Jatavian Sanders.
McMillan though.
That's what I'm saying. I think they might be. I mean, maybe not 10 games, but they'll make split with you guys versus it used to be a sweep, And I don't know. Maybe if you DJ one of the games or that home game, that could fire Canales up enough.
If Egan's listening to this, I'm not going to DJ that game. I can't. If it's like the division's on the line, I have to be at the game.
Right. You have to get active.
I gotta go.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you're the missing piece, and they just used you wrong last year.
I know. We played Big Phoenix on TNF in the creamsicle game.
Really?
December 11th.
He's gonna be turned for that one.
I mean, he's gonna lose, but yeah.
What's another bold NFL take you got outside of the Bucks?
Okay, so I think that the Lions are gonna really struggle. Okay. I have a couple friends that are big Lions fans. I don't care. I think Dan Campbell's a great mascot and a great coach, but you lose both. You lose both your coordinators. It's tough.
Mascot is savage.
I mean, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn weren't the guys doing that.
I mean, Ben Johnson, offensively, for sure. Like, that dude was putting on masterclasses weekly.
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn's solid. But, I mean, they drafted that defense pretty well. Like, I don't feel
for sure, but you got a bunch of guys coming up on contracts, too. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Right. I don't think you're wrong about the Lions falling off opinion. I just think I
don't think they're, can they make the playoffs? Sure. But are they in a really, like, a way tougher division now? Vikings. Ben staying in the division, that's crazy to me.
How does he do?
I don't think it can get any worse over there.
I mean, what'd they win last year? Like 3 games, 4 games?
Yeah. I mean, you guys put all this trust into, this guy who's evidently so good, Caleb Williams. So
he's pretty good.
That's what they say.
He's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think
they retire jerseys now for Heisman, so.
Whatever. Yeah. He wins 7-8 games. What do you think the Jets do with Glenn?
So I think their total over was like 4.5.
Yeah.
It's hard because they're all like so many first-year players with Fields. I think Fields is going to do well over there. I haven't really looked at who their OC is. I don't know.
I just know whoever it is going to have to run the ball a lot.
How do you even run it with their O-line?
I'm going old school. We're running triple option. I got Breece Hall, Justin Fields, all that stuff.
Is Fields on that?
I mean, he can run.
Yeah. Well, now you're just playing NCAA. Like they're not going to run the triple option in the NFL. Unless you're Lamar. I
mean, I just ran that with that little orbit motion triple option. You can do stuff like that. They do stuff like that. Andy Reid's doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they could. But no. Probably 5 wins, I think.
I think the Jets are going to be better than people think.
Your division?
Yeah. I hate the Jets. But I think people are sleeping on
Who do you think the worst team in your division is going to be?
Could be us. We traded for Mika today.
Who is us?
The Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins.
The Miami football Dolphins. The Miami football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. And I can't even say the fight song anymore with like pride.
Miami Dolphins.
But getting rid of Jalen Ramsey was awesome because like he was a great football player and everything, but he's just a dickhead. So I'm kind of glad he's not there anymore. And bringing Minka back, Minka was never a dickhead. Minka was cool. His mom was a dickhead. But
You got to pay him, though.
Okay.
If you're listening to this, your mom's a dickhead.
We were paying Ramsey. We just saved $10 million with this deal. So I'm like, cool. Sounds good to me. Like, I'm perfectly fine with that. My issue is, yeah, we got rid of Jonnu Smith, but we already weren't utilizing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle properly. We weren't using Achane properly last year. The offensive line is still like, doesn't really make much sense to me. The defense looks good on paper, but we have 3 premium pass rushers. Only one of them seems like he can play a whole NFL season, and last year was his rookie year. Yeah, Phillips and Chubb can stay healthy. We have a crazy pass rush coming at people.
I think it's...
But we have
a lot of question marks.
Too many question marks.
Offensive line.
Corner. We just got rid of our tight end, so I think I might have to try out a tight end.
You know what's going to happen with Tua.
Is he going to play 17 games?
That's the other... For me, it's like, can he play more than, 15 games?
Yeah, well, then
because by the time you get to the playoffs, it's like, okay, please don't,
That's what happened a couple years ago. And then we had to go Skylar Thompson against Buffalo. We actually almost won. But, it'd be Zach Wilson right now. So, again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Patriots might be worse than us.
That's one I like. I think Denver is going to be pretty dang good.
I think they're going to be fire, too.
Yeah, I think they're going to be pretty dang good.
Okay, so then Super Bowl prediction. Way too early. Camp hasn't started yet. But if you hit, this would be a crazy clip.
Bucks, Ravens.
Bucks, Ravens. Big Truz.
I think Truz gets his first one. I think we lose the big Truz.
Truz in Santa Clara.
Is that where it is?
Yeah.
Cali?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Bucks, if they stay healthy, have a really, really, really good shot.
Okay.
I just think that Truz is going to get one this year. I think this is it.
Who's in the NFC Championship with the Bucks? Philly?
I think it's Philly.
Yeah, and you guys take them.
Here's the problem with that. Like, we're either going to see them in the NFC title game or we're going to see them in the first round.
One or the other.
Yeah. So, we'll see.
Unless, you're 12
I've talked to a bunch of my Philly friends. They hate playing the Bucks in the playoffs.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think Washington's, a really, really
Sneaky.
good team. I've always said this with rookies. I think I told you with Jamar. And, you really find out, how good these guys are with their second years. Especially when they have a great first year. It's hard to, mock that production because everyone has so much more film on you.
Right.
So if he can, mock that production, I'm totally wrong. But
what about AFC? You mentioned Broncos. Who else can get hot?
Chiefs.
That whole division is crazy.
You can't count out the Chiefs.
Now you got the Raiders pushing in there.
I think they're sneaky. I just think that, ultimately it's Chiefs and Ravens.
You see Gino trying to fist fight a fan the other day at some 7-on-7 thing?
No, I didn't, but I wouldn't do that if I was a fan.
He was screaming, "That's why I make the big bucks. That's why I make the big bucks. They bring me the big bucks."
In Vegas?
They did. They gave the big bucks in Seattle,
That's
too.
a guy I think, that team, Pete, Gino, Ashton, Brock.
They can get moving, bro.
Brock's unreal. Brock's the best tight end in football right now, I think.
Best tight end in football. And over the last 3 years, what do you think the best movie you've seen over that time?
So we were literally just talking about this before we started filming. It was between Batman and Dune 2.
Battinson.
Which,
With the
before that came out, you can ask him, I was destroying him. I wanted nothing to do with the Twilight guy in Batman.
I tried to tell him
And
that man can act.
Yeah, he did pretty well. And we got the Penguin out of it. I think Dune 2's crazy. I think that whole thing is crazy, but I think we're coming up on a month for movies that is just going to be like...
You think Marvel comes back with Fantastic Four?
I think that it's getting there. I don't think that the 4 is going to be the one where it's like, we're back. I think that Doom is going to be the one where it's like, hey.
No, I've heard there are rumors they're talking to Dr. Boom. aka Marlon Bando, about coming in and being a real
I always
super
mix that one up.
That's
But
my dog.
I mean, Downey, dude, like, come on.
He's gonna crank.
I think it's gonna be super interesting just because, like, from what I've seen, there's like some sort of like play on words where like he's not gonna like shy away from the fact that he was Iron Man.
So
or something like that.
The idea is the Iron Man that we had the whole time was not Tony Stark's real son. It was like an adopted son that got switched out. His real son is the Victor Von Doom guy that's going to come up, or some weird situation like that,
and
where they're going to make it make sense.
We watched, what was the last one that we watched? The Marvel movie we went and saw.
Thunderbolts?
And at the end of it, they talked about, you know, that cut scene where they're like going up and like we're the Avengers. And there's all these like teams that are teaming up. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm sorry for spoiling it.
I'll put a little note on there.
Yeah. It was like the Fantastic Four, the ship.
Yeah.
And there was all these teams. So it's like we're assuming it's Captain America, the new Captain America.
The black one.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it, but he is the new one. The Fantastic Four and the other Avengers are teaming up, and they're all going to meet, which I'm assuming is Doom.
Right.
So I think it's going to be crazy.
Okay. So getting outside of that realm.
I think the new Spider-Man is going to be crazy too.
With Punisher in there.
Crazy.
I think we got some good horror coming out too. I like this Together one that's coming out.
Saw that.
With Dave Franco.
That looks pretty, yeah. Dave Franco's the man.
Dave Franco, you watch him in the studio?
No.
Smashed it.
The Studio?
Yeah, the Seth Rogen show.
The movie's called, there's a show called The Studio.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant the actual studio.
No, Seth Rogen's like a Hollywood producer, so it's like messing with like actual Hollywood people and shit like that. And he like throws a party and Dave Franco's there and he's just a fucking nut, bro. And then it becomes like a series of Dave Franco just being a psycho and they cast him for a movie and shit.
No way.
Rips. Would you say horror is your genre, but you're also you get into the action movies. You got really horny about The Accountant.
I used to be comedy like die hard, but I don't know what happened. It was like 2016 and 17, but nothing was funny anymore.
Right, like South Park.
Like everything, South Park's only like you can't joke about anything anymore. So, like The Hangovers and like The Step Brothers, all of those movies were just all time funny.
Yeah.
And now it's like comedies are just like rom-coms and like that's supposed to be funny. But
right.
Sure. Action, definitely. Banger. There was this one that we watched.
The monkey movie.
No. The Amateur that came out.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty, it was decent. But then me and you watched like a horror thriller one where it's like a game show guy. What was it?
Late Night with the Devil.
That movie was incredible.
That was sick.
It was really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, really good. Like, the storyline, everything made sense. At the end, it all pieced together. Yeah. It made you think about, like, some stuff, for sure.
You like that one more than Longlegs?
I think they're two different movies. I think Longlegs is, like, super iconic, and we make jokes about it all the time.
There he is.
Yeah, it's the almost birthday girl.
That shit is so creepy.
Yeah. I think all like the branding and stuff behind it was super cool. I mean, Cage, awesome.
He's just weird.
The movie itself is like pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Like kind of, it's basically like the Zodiac killer type stuff that's just like very loomy, and you're thinking you're gonna get jumped at the whole time. But there's not a lot of
more spoilers.
Yeah, not a lot. Of, not a lot of get back on it. Sorry, but
not that scary. But
should have seen it. It came out a year ago. Don't care.
Yeah, probably 2 years ago now.
But the Late Night with the Devil one, I thought was
a banger.
Really good.
Very underrated too. Didn't get as much love.
The actor they have was dog.
Yeah. That one, Talk to Me, I thought was a good one.
Didn't see it. Heard it was good.
Got a lot more love than it should.
I had a buddy saying it's like an 8.5 or an 8.6.
Yeah.
On the horror scale.
Decent. You see Trap?
I did.
I like that one.
I liked it. The way it's filmed, it's good and everything.
The idea
I thought
was dope.
I thought it was gonna be better.
Okay.
But it was good.
I thought they caught me with the writing. I didn't expect it to like start taking the turns it started taking. I thought it started.
Oh, definitely. I also didn't watch it in the theater. I watched it at home, it's way different.
I was locked into the theater.
Yeah, it's different. Definitely different.
Oh, what was the other one? There was one on Netflix where they're like playing a game and they can switch bodies.
No, how about the one on Netflix with Robert De Niro? where he's like the politician, and it was like a series, and I told you to put that on.
0 Day.
Dude.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like it's basically a movie. It's like
6 episodes.
Don't want to, can this one on you guys. If you've seen it,
More
go
spoilers,
watch it.
I'll tag it.
Really good. Really, really good.
Absolute banger.
You even said, you're like, this is...
I flew through it in like a day.
Yeah, me too. It was amazing. It was really good.
You do Mobland yet?
No.
You're fucking up.
I went and saw Alto Nights, though, the other day.
That's the one where De Niro plays...
2 people.
I thought it was 3 people.
I don't know. I could have been. It took me like an hour. I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's also De Niro.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Is this him too?
Yeah.
Nah.
Paused it and zoomed in.
Overall, I just thought it would be cool to kind of shed a little bit more light for the people that don't get the chance to actually talk to you, to like see that you're just not super work robot, DJ robot machine. You still kind of are. But what would you say your goals for this year? Give me 1 or 2 for like your actual career life, and then 1 or 2 or as many as you got
fun
for
ones.
Personal. Yeah.
I mean, career-wise for me, it's really just, continuing to work towards that goal that I've always had, which is getting, honestly, ultimately away from DJing nights on the weekends.
Right.
I've been doing it since I was 18. I've had my own weekends, like, since that, 10 years.
Legit.
Yeah, so getting there, and how do I do that? It's really just, continuing to advance thriving hospitality and advancing, the roles that I have now. Nothing against DJing. Like, I love it to death, but when you do it, like, so long and so consistently, sometimes you'd like to have, that time to yourself.
For sure.
I think we can all agree on that. But unfortunately, we all got bills to pay.
Man, when I get a Saturday or Sunday free, it gets buck wild.
And the Bucks games on Sundays, you've seen me.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
Get out of the way if you see me in the creamsicle jersey.
If you see this guy in the Trask, pack it up.
Yeah, don't even ask.
Quit asking.
So really just working towards that. Definitely have, some of those really cool events coming up again like next year that we got locked in. DJing wise, I do still want to advance that and get better at that. I don't want to walk away from it completely. So working different events, but personal wise, for me, it's just, finding that time for myself more. And how do I do that? Starts with that first goal. I definitely want to start traveling more. So I got a couple trips planned this summer. I'm going to Cabo in a few weeks. That's always a super fun one. Me and my cousin go.
Bang.
Just doing different trips and things that I didn't really get a chance to do. So when I was younger, whether that's going to Europe or whatever, things like that, really just trying to continue to live my life on that side at the most, while doing, everything else at a high level as well, work-wise.
Boom.
Trying to.
Any other advice before we close this out?
Advice for young just DJs or
DJs, humans, hospitality?
I mean, DJs, I don't really have advice for humans or hospitality because I'm still learning that one as well.
I'm figuring out how to human.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. DJ wise, it's really just, staying consistent, doing, following up on things, being on a timely manner, doing, things that most people wouldn't do. Obviously, what I do in DJing is way different than, the typical producer, headliner type route.
Festival
but that was my choice. I made that choice when, I was 20, 21. We talked about that.
Yep.
You kind of did something similar with what you're doing now. Making that choice, knowing kind of what it is you want to do, and then just, making sure you're comfortable with it, and then just go. Work all the events you can, I guess. Not obviously overload yourself, but definitely working the diversity events that I did over the last few years and 10 years in total.
Absolutely.
Kind of taught me what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. I think too many people get caught up in, I want to be, headliner DJ at said festival XYZ, but then they don't even realize or take the time to say, hey, maybe, that's just not for me, or I won't do this gig here or there just because, well, it's not what I want to do. And then they end up doing it with you, bro. And I think I was playing gigs like Tavern, I was playing gigs at the Study, I was playing tailgates, and then, I didn't really want to do weddings. And I still really don't really want to do weddings. So I did privates, and I did the festival opener sets, and I went to Miami and I played all those other things. And Some of the events I like, some of them I don't.
Right.
Doing what you like is super important to me, just because you're enjoying your job. You have no problem doing it as much as you want or as much as you have to for as ever long you can.
Right.
Because then, it's not really work at the end of the day. You're liking what you're doing. Yes, it's work. Sometimes you don't want to go, but it's way better than saying, God, I don't want to do this. Like, it could be worse.
While you're doing it, being in it and being like, man, this ain't it.
Yeah. And I've had those.
That's when you're burnt out and you need to take a day.
I've had those gigs like where I like got up there and I've driven up there and I'm like, fuck, why did I say yes to this?
I'm never doing this again. I'm never coming back here.
Why did I say yes to this?
Yeah. Fuck. Not here, though. Shout outs again to Szn3ep6 Social Club. Today's sponsor for today's episode. My absolute favorite place to play. I get asked all the time, like, where do I like playing? This place barely fits 80 people, and every time the energy is just on point. I
see that the other day. Where do you like playing the most?
Yeah, literally. That was, what, Thursday? Friday? Yeah. I can play Sparrow and Barbosa here. I can play as much K-Tronada as I want.
I love rooms like that are the best.
Dude.
It's very similar to like kind of like what I do over Edition, where I kind of play all of that nice lounge stuff. And I mean, this venue is beautiful, like you said.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Same. And it's the same idea as Edition. It's just a little bit closer to where I live.
It's way more homey.
It's homey.
It feels homey.
It's so homey in here.
This chair is comfortable. That couch over there, I don't know if y'all can see it. It's beautiful.
Don't make me bust out the flatbreads either. Like, the food here smacks. Like, all the drinks here. The mocktails, too. Yeah, bro. Like,
big mocktail. Over the last 10 days, I was drinking mocktails.
And, like, let's erase the stigma on mocktails. If you're trying not to drink, it is the move. Because you're still drinking something. You're not just drinking water or just drinking Sprite.
You almost trick
like
yourself.
That.
Like,
you're still vibing.
Friday, I had like 2 like mojito mocktails.
They have a dragonberry one
Mojitos.
Here. Yeah. Mojitos.
Mojitos.
Yeah.
Taquito, mojito,
yeah.
Shakira, whatever, man.
Bucks and 4.
But no, it was good because I just didn't feel like, I don't know. It's not that I felt drunk or like I felt like I was drinking or anything. It's just I just felt like part of it.
Right.
And now more than ever, it's so hard to just fall into like, I'll take 2 or 3 screwballs. I'll have a couple high noons or whatever at the gig.
A couple shots pop up, some friends come through.
Like some of these venues, you'll play and they're like the high volume nightclub, bottle bars or nightclubs. That's what you want to call them. They'll be like, hey, 6 tequila shots within your 3-hour gig, and you're like, dude, it's only hour 2 and I'm on shot 5, and it's like,
this ain't it.
I'm hurting.
This is starting to get a little blurry.
I'm getting a little acid reflux. Like, y'all got a Tums or something? Like,
y'all got a Tums or something.
Sometimes you need one.
It's real. Keep them in the travel bag.
I do.
Nah, but either way, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm not going to just get after it for a little bit. And I'm telling you, the mocktails, the Heineken Zeros, cheat codes.
I've never done those or the O'Douls, but I had a buddy.
See, O'Douls I feel weird about ordering. At least the Heineken,
because they know they see the thing.
Well, no, it's just like O'Douls. I made fun of it
covered
so
the
long.
Zero and the Heineken.
You can't tell. You literally look at it, you cannot tell.
That makes sense. I had a buddy. He's actually a big producer. He lives in Chicago now, but he's from Chicago, and he used to come down here, and he didn't drink for like a year, and he was only drinking like he put O'Douls like on his rider.
Gangsta.
Yeah, like straight up. And like that's no disrespect, like no hate at all.
No, it hits the same.
I have a lot of friends that like we're doing like events and stuff, like they'll send their riders and like they'll have like a bottle of 42 and a Tito's, and we'll get there and he's like, yeah, I'm not drinking.
Yep.
Like then what? I'm like, whatever. Okay.
So at least I did. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, also.
Don't open that bottle.
Yeah, please. I'm gonna pack that bit back on.
Yeah. Please put that bottle back inside.
Either way, thanks for having me, big
Always, brother.
Love you, man. Love you.